Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I have an opportunity to work on a classic that's actually a beautiful reel. This is the Garcia Mitchell 624. It's a wider diameter and a longer frame than some of its counterparts. It lines up very nicely with a Penn Long Beach 65. Probably has capacity of about 350 yards at 25-pound test. We're going to take this apart, we're going to clean it up, we're going to show you how this reel comes together and how it's made and how to service one if you have it. Well, this one came in, I guess because, well, it's needed service for a while, and the fellow that brought the reel in actually had two of these. He said one of them was kind of a boy head memory, and the other one, well, was for parts. So I can't see letting this one be a parts reel. So we're going to do the work on this one. I don't have the key for this one. It has a kind of a unique serration to it. So I use a channel lock pliers very gingerly to grab the outside of it in order to set that on. We're going to find out what's going on in this reel too, because there seems to be quite a gap between the adjuster and the handle itself. I think that might be worn drags. We're going to find out. So we're going to remove the star adjuster. We're going to remove the collar. We're going to put a glove on for this because, well, the other one was pretty dirty inside. And I like to wear a glove on my non-working hand at least. Keeps some of that stuff out. I don't necessarily keep it all out, but if I can keep half of it off, that's probably a good thing. And while I'm taking out the side plate screws, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. It'll let you know when I'm posting, and you can choose to see whether you want to watch those videos or not. I work on all kinds. This is a vintage saltwater reel. Tomorrow might be the latest line in a freshwater spinning reel, maybe followed by a low bait caster. You never know. It's whatever comes into my shop. Well, I'm taking these 4 side plate screws out, and I'm leaving them on my desk because I want to make sure they are all the same size before we continue. They are, so that means you can go back in any position you like. It's kind of interesting. You had 4 side plate screws, but you got 4 crossbars and 2 holes for the middle, which, as we take this off, you'll see there are some that just sit into the inner ring but don't go through with the screw. If you happen to have had this reel and you took them all apart, know that the 2 bottom ones are the ones with the studs on them. Sometimes you take these apart for cleaning, lay them all out, put them back in, and then you find you have reversed the stud pieces. And well, that's always a problem. Looks like somebody kind of did this reel in Vaseline. I guess you can. Vaseline is a petroleum product. So yeah, I guess it'll keep baby's bottoms dry and that, but what happens with Vaseline and reels is generally just collects a lot of dirt. It has the good waterproofing capabilities, of course, but, well, beyond that, not much. Okay, let's show you what happens here with this chrome. This chrome is probably the best chrome plating of just about any fishing reel I've ever seen. I'm going to just use a light amount of chrome cleaner. I don't even think this is available anymore, this chrome cleaner. I was looking for it in the auto store the other day, and I kind of realized, well, not too many autos have chrome on them anymore, so who would be buying chrome cleaner? So I think they, either Turtle Wax or the car companies have kind of discontinued that. But regardless, it has a mild abrasive in it, it's a polish, and it helps when you have something like this. Look at how beautiful that chrome is there. Bottom plate seems to have a little bit of pitting in it. That's okay. Alright, we've cleaned all of that up. I'm just going to put a little coating of fishing reel grease. I use Penn Precision reel grease for this, into the center of that bushing or bearing, whatever it may be, that is going to handle that spool tag end. Got a little bit of line left over on this. Clip that off. And again, this looks like it's pitting. It's really not. Most of the time this stuff can clean right off with the 4/0 steel wool. Don't go any more aggressive than that. But most of the time this stuff will just wipe off because it's such a nice coating. And shine right up. This one looks like it's probably had some old line on it for a long time, and that may have caused some of this to wear into the plating. But for the most part, it's in pretty good condition here. Now we'll just finish doing this. If you like these videos, please like them on the notification side. It's always helpful, I guess, in terms of page views or what have you. I do appreciate everybody who watches, of course. All right, the spool is cleaned. I'm going to set that into the case and set it aside. On this, as I mentioned, you have a ring on this side that's got 6 holes in it. The other side only has the 4 where those screws come through. So wipe that down, make sure both sides are clean. Again, if there was anything more than just that brilliant chrome there, you would want to go ahead and take a little steel wool or something, clean it up. This is your inside look at this. 4 screws hold on the bridge. This is your jack, kind of a different situation. This is your eccentric, which is going to press the jack in and out, your pinion gear, and the like. Notice that the jack goes into a little slot in the top of the case here. I'm going to take the 4 screws off now. And everybody who knows this reel knows you always get a spider crack here. Doesn't matter how well you take care of it. I've only seen one that didn't have a spider crack in it, and that was brand new old stock in a box that was never used. That's a stress point for the spool, I assume, and however the reel was manufactured, it seems to be the weak point. Don't worry about it if you have the spider crack in it. It's more cosmetic than it is a problem. So just be aware that you're probably going to find a reel like that, and in no way should that deter from your wanting to buy one of these. We pull that jack. There's a anti-reverse dog here. Don't want to lose this, and there's a spring under it. You can see the spring nested in the case there. Here's your pinion gear. There's a big spring that goes under the jack. Still trying to get that little spring out for the anti-reverse dog before I go much further. It probably looks like a mess on my desk, so we'll just get this apart and then we'll kind of explain what we have here before I lose that spring. There's 2 springs in here. They're going to be very hard to replace if you lose them. Okay, this is the eccentric. It's going to press down on the jack. That's going to push that pinion gear in and out. Guess we get some more stuff here. This is your jack. A rather simple design. I did see this design show up again, interestingly of all things, on an offshore angler reel from Bass Pro. And these reels were made back in the 1970s. The Bass Pro reels are kind of modern, so it looked like somebody may have resurrected the design here for that reel. Only place I ever saw it, but you never know. I'm just taking a moment here to try and clean up some of the junk, the old greases and the like. They kind of get into the side cavities and that because the centrifugal force just kind of forces it over that way as the reel spins. Maybe a little shot of penetrating oil in here just for a final cleanup. I'm using a cotton swab to just kind of do the rest of that. As much of the dirt as you can get off, please try and get it off, because well, it'll only clog the reel later, and nobody needs that. Alright, that's pretty clean there. So let's show you how this thing sets then. So we have an eccentric that's going to swing over. It's going to push down on the jack held in by the spring. That's going to lower the pinion gear in. It's going to pull it off the spool. That's how you're going to get free spool. The little stud over here is an eyelet for the anti-reverse dog. The anti-reverse dog spring goes in here. This is your bridge. It looked like this reel is having a little bit of an issue here with drag washers. I'm thinking that's probably that they are worn. And I believe that even though these washers aren't available, yeah, these are all caked up. That's the problem with this one. You can see that whole assembly is coming out. They're just frozen there. But the good news with this one is that the pen 60 drag washers actually work in this one as a substitute. So not only did the reel look like the 65 Long Beach, you can use the 65 Long Beach drag washers if you need to, if you have this reel and you need replacement washers. All right, I just pulled that clear. Let's check the gear sleeve on this. This is spinning nice and freely. If you wanted to, you can pull the pin on this. Let's see if it comes out, if it cooperates. This pin setup is very similar to a pen. A lot of this is similar to a pen reel. Yeah, it's not going to cooperate. I'm not going to force it at this point. If this was very sticky, I would go ahead and tell you that, I don't even want to go ahead and tell you, I would do it. Remove that, but this sleeve is working fine. I'm just going to let that one go. I've cleaned the teeth and I've checked the teeth, so now it's time to go ahead, put some grease back on this. Please use fishing reel grease. I know the person who had it before appears to have used Vaseline, and you know what? Vaseline probably costs the same as fishing reel grease. So you're not going to save anything using it, and you probably get into some kind of issues there. Well, these are the old type leather washers. We're going to upgrade them. You can see how they're pressed and they're stuck to the metal washers. There was no effective drag in this reel. Those washers would have been melted. You would have had a drag. You would have stopped the fish, but you couldn't temper the drag at all. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go grab some drag washers, and I'm going to encourage you to ask some questions. If you have questions on this reel or any reel in particular, maybe you're working on one, you're trying to figure it out, maybe you're stuck. If you have any questions like that, please leave them in the comments section. I will try to answer those for you. I'm going to take the HT100 washers that are meant for the pen, and again, you can order these. Mystic Parts is a good place to order these if you need them, and well, they're a good substitute. You'll find if you take the washer and you line it up with the other one, spot on. Okay, we're going to use these. You can grease these or you can run them dry. It's a kind of a hybrid HT100. I'll use some fishing reel grease for this one. And we alternate now. We're going to put a drag washer in. Then there's two washers that have rectangular centers and round outsides. Those go high and low. They're called keyed washers. I'm just using the steel wool right now to kind of clean that up a little bit, because we know that there's residue on there from the washers that got stuck. All right, one goes on the bottom. We can take our second washer, do the same thing, a little bit of grease. Don't put a lot on there, just enough to kind of wet it down, see through it. And you can see how perfect that fit is with using that pen drag washer. The middle washer is called the eared washer. It has two sides to it that are studs, and it has a circular center. And to use the center twice, it belongs in the center of the drag stack. Well, this one's going to work very nicely when it's done. I have no question about that. Find the two slots in the internal side of the gear. Make sure that those two studs sit or nest in them like that. Last of the drag washers then. Grab that one. One more for the top washer here. Again, you want to smooth that down to take off any of the old washer residue. This is the top one. That's got a little oxidation on it, or tarnish, because that's probably what was taking all of the water when it came in. And we'll leave that top side up. We have this little bevel washer here that's going to give you some tension on that. Well, that's your bridge assembly. Let's go back here then. Grab our jack, make sure that's clean. And flip that switch to the off side. We'll use our fishing reel grease to get some grease right where the pinion gear is going to go. Same thing with the pinion gear. This one's clean. Inspect all the teeth. Make sure that they're uniform, that they're not chipped or cracked. I did have an opportunity to spin this reel before. It spun nicely. So it was a matter of dirt and debris in there. The slotted side is going to face out, so look for the hook in that. That's going to be in. The slotted side goes out. Here's your big spring. That goes in the cavity in the side plate here. So now what you want to do is you want to take this assembly, kind of slide it under that eccentric, and nest the pinion gear into the hole. Just like that. And then as soon as I do that, generally I want to swing that eccentric over to hold that whole assembly in place. And then of course that hook goes in that little indentation in the side plate there. Move these off to the side. Let's go ahead and reinstall the main assembly then. We have our anti-reverse dog and spring. And what we want to do is kind of like a pen, get this mostly in there. So I'll take the bridge, load that in this way, leave a little room here. That's where your anti-reverse dog will go. And then the spring nests in this cavity right here. Kind of showed you that on the way in. Be very careful as you're loading this. After a while you kind of get the feel, but that's how it goes. It can shoot if you take your pressure off of it, so make sure that it's stable. Then line up your bridge plate, and any of the 4 screws will work in those 4 post holes. So just bring one in and get it started. I'm going to use a little pick here just to go through to make sure that I hold the other hole so that I don't have to continually move in and out of this, trying to figure out where that bridge aligns to. And put one back here, kind of north and south. And then we'll fill in the other 2 holes. And as you can see, the service doesn't take that long to do. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way. You need to know a little bit about the reel itself. But once you figure out the mechanics behind it, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, the 4 bridge screws are on. Before you do anything else, give it a turn, make sure it's turning, which it is. Then what I like to do is I like to align the holes. They always move on these bridge plates for some reason. And that's not one. There we go. Make sure that you can see the 4 holes that you need to do when you put this on. Grab your backside plate. There's 2 holes and then a long space, so load those up. Just like that. A little bit of grease onto the shaft of the spool. That'll ride inside the pinion gear. And then on this one, there's a little dent, if you will, in that side plate. Find the indentation. It's right here. It's a little bit further away from the free spool release. And then once you have that seated, you should have the holes aligned on both sides. Run them all through there or something just to make sure. All right, the trick here is that you got to get these 2 stud ends into the 2 lower holes that are on that side plate, otherwise it won't sit nice. That's one. Oh, that's not one. Another rotation. There we go. Couldn't figure out why that wasn't going. All right, now we can take our side plate, make sure that those screw holes are lined up, and we'll just bring one through. And once we get the one, the rest kind of go easy. Again, these are all the same size. It's unlike a pen reel, where the ones that go into the reel seat are a little bit shorter. These are pretty much spot on, so it doesn't matter which ones you kind of use. I'll go kind of in a triangle here. I'll do the top one, come to the bottom one. Flip the switch there because you got to get that screw behind it. It's going into that cross post. I'll come back and do the other one. One more. Goes down below. Okay. Well, this one should run better now because you have drag washers in it. On the free spool with that, let's take our collar for the gear sleeve. Then on this star adjuster, you have a blank side and you have a side with numbers. You want the side with the numbers. We can grab our handle. This is the old coffee grinder handle. For those of us that remember A&P, Atlantic Pacific Tea Company, and their coffee grinders. They had handles like this. Now we want to come in and do the handle nut, or handle screw actually, it's a screw. Tighten it down as much by hand as you can. Now again, I'm just going to gently grab that with the pliers. If you're concerned at all with the cosmetics, put a piece of tape or something underneath here. I'm just going to kind of grab it like that. This one does have a tie down on it. The other reel that he gave me did not. So you have to kind of play with this one a little bit. We had it right the first time. It's going to sit between two of the teeth on that cog. All right, one more screw. We'll give it a test. We'll see how we did. So we learned on this one that there's a kind of a rather simple design to it, but very effective. We know that it's effective because somebody's copying it these days. And, well, it's a beautiful reel. There's hardly a reel on the market that had chrome like this. There's no question about that. And, well, let's give it a try. I believe we're in free spool here. Got a clicker that's working nicely. And look at that spin. That's without even adjusting the spool at all. You could actually back that off a little bit. Spins like, it's a beautiful, beautiful reel. All right. Throw it into gear, make sure that it turns. Look at that nice smooth operation of that reel. It's a beauty. Okay, there you go. That's the Garcia Mitchell 624, complete with the requisite spider cracks at the gear side bearing. It's a beauty that'll last for a long time to come. Cleans up nicely. Perfect for 15, 20, 25 pound line and the same weight of fish. And nice loud clicker. Nice silent operation with that. I hope you've enjoyed that. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for all it is that you do to keep us safe. Your efforts truly are appreciated. To everyone, please enjoy the art of reel repair. Take care of your reels now. A lot of us are coming into the off season. It's a perfect time to service your tackle and get it ready for next year. And well, it's also a nice relaxing way to spend an afternoon. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.